Hi friends, welcome to Life in Envelopes. I am Jennifer Bleecher. In today's video, we're going to close out my budget for the month of February. I'm also going to do a Q&A section at the end of the video. Unfortunately, it was another low week in the Etsy shop, so we don't have any extra money for savings challenges this week, so we'll be skipping that portion. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so we're going to start with the monthly spread to see where our money went this week. Starting with debt, we had one debt payment for $142 to loan number 2. For bills, I didn't have any bills this week. We finished paying our last bill last week for the month, so we were all caught up there. For food, we only had one food trip this week. I had a tight budget, so I went to Sam's. And this is the trick I do when I have a tight budget. I actually use a calculator and I calculate as I go to make sure that I'm not going to go over budget. So I only spent $128 at Sam's, and that is all that I spent on food this week. Moving on to gas. I did need gas this week, and I spent $41 on that. Then for miscellaneous, I did, it says miscellaneous, but I did have to go to Target and pick up a few miscellaneous items, and that came to $28. Then for spending, we had our normal $55. For savings, so I wasn't able to do any extra savings this week because I had another low week of sales in the Etsy shop. Luckily, I generated enough income this month to still cover my obligation to the family budget according to our divorce agreement, but I didn't have extra money for that, and I didn't have extra money for the extra savings challenges that I do for myself, which is vacation and glasses. Okay, that was it for our spending this week. Let's take a look at the worksheet. Okay, so for bills and debts, we just had one debt, and that was to loan number 2 for $142. So that was our final payment for this month. Let's add all this together and see how much we actually spent. We had budgeted at the beginning of the month, we budgeted $29.62. These are our fixed expenses, so there's very low, hopefully, very low, there's a very low chance of differentiation, but there is always a little bit of differentiation, so let's see. So $29.75 is what we actually spent. So we budgeted $29.62 and we spent $29.75. And I'm just going to quickly double check my math. I always like to do that because I'm usually wrong. I make mistakes. So I'm going to quickly do that and I'll be right back. Okay, that's right. So we did go a little bit above budget. Let's see what the difference was. So $29.62 minus $29.75. So we were over budget by $13. Okay, coming down to our variable expenses. So first let's fill in the weekly check-in page for that. So these weekly check-in stickers and all the stickers that you see in my workbook are available in my Etsy shop, Life in Envelopes, and I do have a discount code for all of my YouTube viewers. It is YouTube15. When you shop with my Etsy shop, use that discount code to save 15% off of your order. Okay, so for food this week, we spent, what did we spend? $128. So I ended with $10 extra in my food account. I just want to make sure I did that right. Let's see. So that means we spent $790 on food this month. I can't remember the last time I was below food budget. I thought I had spent like exactly what I had, but I guess I spent a little bit less than what I had available. Awesome. Okay, for gas, we had $42 available. We spent $41, so we were actually +1 in that category too. Miscellaneous, we went over in miscellaneous. So we only had 17 left, but that Target trip was $28. So that puts us over. So we were over budget by $11 there. Then spending, we budgeted $55, which is exactly what we spent. So that was zero, difference of zero. So altogether we broke even though, because we were positive 10, positive 1, negative 11. Oh, that's awesome. So for all the categories, we were zero. For the miscellaneous categories, we had a difference of zero at the end. That's funny. Okay, so for food, we ended up spending $790. For gas, we ended up spending $79. Miscellaneous, we ended up spending $211. And for spending, we spent $220. So let's add that together. $1,300. So that's exactly what we budgeted. Even though the categories were a little different, altogether that's exactly what we budgeted. Okay, up here are the sinking funds that we do at the end of the month. These are the family sinking funds that go into our savings account and that we outlined in our divorce agreement. So we transferred $200 over today. 40 of that is going towards our Christmas budget. 20 is going towards MORC. 20 is going towards car registration. 50 is going to car maintenance. 60 is going to Amazon. And 10 is going to Sam's Club. And I do have a chart at the beginning of the workbook where we can track this. Right here. So I'm going to go ahead and color everything in. I'll fast forward this part for you. Okay, and that's what my chart looks like. Just as a reminder, these blue boxes are ones I don't have to save. So car registration, for example, for this year is done. So it's all filled up. Okay, moving down here, these are the extra sinking funds that I do in addition to our divorce agreement. I wanted to save $80 for vacation this month. I was only able to save $20. I wanted to save $20 for glasses, but I was only able to save $5. So my goal was to save an extra $100 this month, but I was only able to save $25. So that's a difference of $75. Oh, I forgot to say up here it says 200, 200, which is a difference of zero. Okay, coming over here to extra savings. First week I was able to do an extra $85 of savings, and that was the only week I was able to do extra savings. So that's what we have. We budgeted zero for extra savings, but we were able to save $84 this month. Okay, we're gonna now move on to the end of the month worksheets. We're gonna start here with where did my money go, monthly budget, and category breakdown. So all together this month, our monthly inflow was $4,569. As far as debt goes, we budgeted $2,002, and that's exactly what we spent. So that's a difference of zero. For bills, we budgeted $960. Just a second, let me look. Let's see what we actually spent though. But we actually spent $973. So we were a little above budget in the category of bills. That's a difference of $13. So we were above budget by $13. Some categories you don't want to be above budget, and in some it's okay to be above budget. For example, we don't want to be above budget in bills. But if we happen to be above budget in savings, that's good. So a positive of being above budget is not always a bad thing. Depends on the category. Food, we budgeted $800, but we only spent $790. So we were below budget by $10. For gas, we budgeted $80. We spent $79. So we were below budget by $1. Miscellaneous, we budgeted $200. We overspent. We spent $220. $20. So we were over budget by $20 there. For spending, we budgeted $220, and that's exactly what we spent. So we were 0. For savings challenges, we budgeted 0, but we actually ended up saving, go back and look, $84. So we were above budget by $84. For sinking funds, this is the family sinking funds, we budgeted $200, and that's what we saved. So we were right on target there. For my personal sinking funds, I wanted to save $100. I ended up only saving $25. So I was below budget here by $75. So if I cover this up, these ones, all these categories, we want them to be either 0 or negative. And then down here, we want them all to be either 0 or positive. Okay, it's time to calculate the percent of total monthly inflow. If you ever forget how to do this, the Budget Mom has included the formula down here, so you can always refer back to this if you need to. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your total amount spent for that category. So debt was $2,002. And we're going to divide that by the total monthly inflow. And that will give me my percent of total monthly inflow. I like to just, okay, I went ahead and calculated that for the rest of the budget categories. So 21% of our budget went to bills, 17% of our budget went to food, 2% went to gas, this was gas for our car, 5% went to miscellaneous, 5% went to spending, 2% went to savings, 4% went to sinking funds, number 1, and 1% went to sinking funds, number 2. Okay, moving on to where did my money go, monthly debt and savings breakdown. Starting with debt, so we need the total monthly inflow, that's the number over here, so $45.69. The monthly debt payoff is the total amount that we paid towards debt this month, which was $2,002. I got that number from here. Okay, percent of inflow to debt. So we take 2002, we divide that by 45.69, and that gives us our percentage, so 44%. So 44% of our budget went to debt. Okay, let's break down each debt category now. So for loan number 2, so I had 4 payments of $142. So $568 went to loan number 2. For my mortgage, I believe it was $1316. Yes, it was $1316. And for my SUV, it was $118. Yep, $118. Okay, now I'm going to calculate the percent of category to debt. So out of this 2002, how much of it went to loan number 2, how much went to mortgage, and how much went to my SUV? So to calculate that, I'm going to take the 568 divided by the 2002, and that gives me my percentage. So 28% went to loan number 2. Okay, next is mortgage. $66% went to mortgage. And finally is SUV. $6% went to SUV. Okay, let's move over to our savings. So on this one, we just go with total monthly income and not total monthly inflow. They are different things, but the way we share our money is we don't share our income. We do share our total monthly inflow, but we don't share all of our income. So for my example, I'm just going to go with the same number I have for total monthly inflow. Your income might be different. You might have 2 different numbers here. Okay, so total monthly savings. So, well, I don't remember what that is. Let's see. For savings challenges, we spent $84. For sinking funds number 1, that was $200, and sinking funds number 2, that was $25. So whatever that is altogether, that's our total monthly savings. So $309. So $309 divided by 45.69. Okay, 7%. So 7% of our budget went to savings this month. Okay, so let's see how much of that 309 was in each category. So starting with our savings challenges, so 84 divided by 309, so that's 27%. So 27% went to savings challenges. Okay, then we have 200 for sinking funds number 1. So 200 divided by 309 is 65%. So 65% went to sinking funds number 1, and then sinking funds number 2, we take 25 divided by 309. I'm going to multiply that times 100 because it's a little hard for me to read. Okay, 8%. So 8% went there. Okay, we're going to do one more worksheet. We are going to do the Where Did My Money Go monthly spending comparison. This is where we compare last month to this month. So starting with our monthly inflow, last month we had a monthly inflow of $4,740, and that was different this month. This month it was only $45.69. So let's calculate the difference there. So we had $171 less this month than we did last month. Okay, coming down here, for debt, we spent $2,002. So that was 44% of our budget. So we spent 38% of our budget last month on debt. This month we spent 44. So let me see what the difference is there. So 38 minus 44. So we spent 6% less this month on debt than we did. Oh wait, no, sorry, that's more. We spent 6% more of our budget on debt than we did last month. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and write down the rest of the numbers and we'll come back and calculate the change together. Okay, so now let's calculate the change between each budget category. So for bills, last month we spent $961, which was 17% of our budget. This month we spent $948, which was 21% of our budget. So 21 minus 7, so 21 minus 17. So we have a positive amount of 4. So we spent 4% more of our budget on bills this month. Moving on to food, we had $1124, which was 20%, and then this month was $790, which was 17%. So we spent 3% less this month than we did last month. For gas, we budgeted $65, which was 1% of our budget. This month we spent $79, which was 2% of our budget. So that's a difference of 1%. We spent 1% more this month than we did last month. For miscellaneous, last month we spent $294. This month we spent $220, and they were both 5% of our budget, so there's no difference there. For spending, it was $220 and $220, but last month that was only 4% of our budget, where this month it was 5% of our budget. So we actually spent 1% more on our budget there. Savings challenges, we spent $341 and $84. So we had 6% of our budget and 2% of our budget. So that's a difference of 4. So we have 4% less that went to savings this month. Then sinking funds, we had 210 and 200. Both were 4%. So that's exactly the same. And then sinking funds, number 2, we did 325 last month, which was 6% of our budget, but this month we were only able to do 25, which was 1% of our budget. So we were 5% less this month. Okay, friends, it is time for the Q&A section of this video, so I hope you stick around for that. But if you don't, if you're logging up here, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and I will see you again next time. Bye, everyone. Okay, so let's get to your questions. Remember, if you want to ask a question for me to answer in next week's video, just put question at the beginning of your comment in the comment section below. That just lets me know that that's a question you're comfortable with me reading out loud on the next video. And I also scroll through awfully fast and I don't want to miss anybody. Unfortunately, sometimes I still do on accident, but never intentionally. I don't want to miss you. I never intentionally miss anybody is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so this first question is from Christine Wallace, 9251. A bit off subject, but I was just wondering how Mork Jr. is getting along with the cat. They get along beautifully. They don't like hang out together and cuddle, but they're friendly. They'll walk by each other with no problem. They boop noses with each other, and then they'll both like run off. But they're good. They're both boys. Bubsy, the cat, is just tolerating Mork. And Mork is just like a happy puppy who wants to play with him. But Bubsy's just like tolerates him, and they get along just fine. Okay, this next question is from Mohair57. You look great today. Thank you. When you do your budget, can you tell us a step-by-step about how you prepare behind the scenes before you actually apply it in your workbook? I find that most budget creators don't show this in their videos, or I haven't seen this. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. I think this is such a great idea because I do a lot of behind the scenes prep work before I sit down to film a video. Sometimes that prep work can take me like an hour or two before I even sit down to film. So I will definitely do that with you guys, not for today's budget. This is a budget closeout, and the prep time is even longer. It takes a lot of time to get all the information for those last pages in the book, at the end of the month book, the end of the month pages. So yeah, I will at some point in the future. I just don't know when, but I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea for me to show you the whole process. Okay, so this next question is from Michelle Mess. What was your favorite age to teach, and are you enjoying teaching Logan's age now? I know it's different because he's your son, but do you enjoy middle school? I hope you are enjoying these gorgeous temps. Okay, so I actually have two favorite grades. So I taught, when I was a public school teacher, I taught every grade, kindergarten through 6th grade, except for 3rd. I never taught 3rd grade. So that's kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Those are all the grades that I taught. And my two favorites were 2nd grade and 5th grade. And for different reasons. But I think here's what it is. The 2nd graders, they're capable of doing so much. Most of them know how to read and write, and we can do a lot of fun things together, but they're still so sweet. And then in 5th grade, they're capable of doing even more, and we get to explore more interesting topics and have more interesting discussions because they're just a little more mature and intellectually developed. And they haven't hit that. There's something that happens between 5th and 6th grade, and they haven't hit that yet. Because 6th grade, not my favorite, my least favorite. 6th grade and kindergarten were my two least favorites. So I like 2nd and I like 5th. Mostly because the kids were sweet at both of those grades. And then as far as teaching Logan goes, I'm having a ton of fun. I love all the middle school topics and just diving deeper into things I haven't really done. Like we're doing Greek mythology this year. I've never taught that. We're doing ancient studies. I had never taught that. We're doing some higher level math, which is super fun for me. So I'm having so much. Oh, we're doing chemistry this year too. So I'm having so much fun learning all this new stuff along with him. Okay, this next question is from April's Fresh Start. If you're from Michigan and David is from Los Angeles, how did you guys end up in Iowa? Love watching your journey. That is funny. So I'm not actually from Michigan. I've never lived in Michigan. My mom is from Michigan, and my dad was in the military. So when I was growing up, we lived all over the place. We started out in Hawaii. That's where I was born, Honolulu, Hawaii. And then we moved to California, Boston, Massachusetts, Germany. I lived there for 3 years. We moved back to America when I was in 2nd grade, and we moved to Texas. Then we moved to Iowa. This was with my family. And when we came to Iowa, I was in high school. So I did high school and college here in Iowa. Then after Iowa, I moved to Los Angeles, and that's where I met David. And then he and I bounced around. He and I went some different places. So we lived in Los Angeles, we lived in Vegas, we lived in Austin, Texas, and then we eventually came back here to Iowa. And we came back to be closer to my mom. And then my mom did a funny thing and moved to to Michigan, but that was like 8 years after we moved here. So we lived close by for a while, for many years. Okay, this next question is from Cruz 5112. In the first part of the month, if you make extra money, instead of putting your extra money, if you have any, towards savings or challenges, have you thought of saving for the following week when it may be lower, and just do savings and challenges once your contribution has been met? I hope this question is coming out the right way and not all jumbled. No, I get it. So yeah, because this month was really hard. This is like the third week in a row where I've had a low week, and that is a good idea. Maybe I should just do savings challenges once a month at the end of the month after I know that I have extra money. I don't know. Here's my thing is what I worry about is then will I save that money just in case next month isn't as good? You know what I mean? Like I feel like if I do it week to week, it's more likely to happen. And the more I put it off, the more unlikely it is to happen. So I don't know. I'll have to think about that. But yeah, like this month was weird because I've had 3 low weeks, and I was just, I've been working on my taxes, and it was like this last year too. This month was pretty slow. So I think it's just a low month. And then according to my taxes, like income last year, it went back up again. And I think that's because I brought back the mystery kits, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring back the mystery kits. I offer mystery kits during my slow season, and I'm definitely the beginning of my slow season now. And that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all again next time. Bye everyone.